Hey everyone, it's Josh from Thousand Echoes, and today I'm here with a truth bomb for you. The truth is you don't need expensive gear or a fancy recording studio in order to make your songs sound more pro. And of course, I've learned this lesson the hard way. When I was about 18, I bought my first professional microphone thinking that it was going to make me sound like Radiohead, and of course it didn't. It just sounded like the same garage band disaster that I'd been creating before. That said, after 32 years of writing songs and landing over 200 syncs in TV, film, and ads, I've cracked the code on what really separates amateur songs from the pros. It's not your gear, it's not your plugins, and it's not your mixing chops, even though those things can help. I want to talk about 4 fundamental principles that make your song sound more professional. These are the elements that I've identified that can take your songs from cringeworthy to chartworthy if you're doing it right. So grab a notepad and let's make your music sound like it belongs on the world's biggest stages. I want to kick things off with a question. Ever listen to your song and say, wow, this sounds terrible. Like, what am I even doing? I shouldn't be writing songs. That was me, of course, in my 20s, and that's everybody who's ever tried to write songs. I used to pile on every guitar riff, every synth pad that I could into one single song. Lots of vocals, lots of stacks. I thought more was better. You know, I was looking for this wall of sound. Then one day I was working with a good friend of mine in the studio, Jason Carter, amazing producer. And Jason has been an incredible mentor for me for many years, and he's helped me to change the way I think about my songwriting, but more specifically, the way that I produce my songs in the studio. Jason said to me something to the effect of, Josh, you can make things sound much bigger, much more three-dimensional if you use less instrumentation, less layering, and less effects. And that's when I started thinking about something that I now call the space principle. You see, pro songs don't just sound better to our ears, they breathe. They leave gaps for the listener's imagination to fill. Think of Jeff Buckley's iconic cover of Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah. The sparse nature of the recording lets his voice really shine and also lets the song shine. Amateur songs, they're overstuffed. It's like watching my wife pack a suitcase sometimes, and she's trying to get so much stuff in there, and then she's sitting on top of it and she's zipping it up. Sometimes our songs can feel like that. And by the way, I also pack my suitcase like that, so I'm guilty. So here's your action step with this. I want you to open up your latest track and just try muting 1, maybe 2, maybe 3 instruments and kill 1 or 2 effects. Then I want you to sit back and listen. And I want you to ask yourself some really honest questions like, is this song still resonating? Can I still hear the song? You see, less is often more, and this can make your song sound much more professional. Do you want to know what else the pros do differently? Stick around because this next one is important. All right, picture this. I'm about 25 years old and I'm playing in a dive bar in Nashville, and I'm pouring my soul into a song that I thought was just a display of my brilliance as a songwriter. I'm using complex chords and picking patterns, and I'm putting all these grandiose lyrics into it. But the crowd, they were totally yawning. That night, they just weren't picking up on my vibe. After my set, I was pulled aside by a random person at the bar who said to me, hey man, your songs are cool and really smart, but we really want to feel you. And that's when I started to think a lot more about emotional clarity in my songwriting. Professional songs have this way of just hitting you right in the chest. And that's because often they're focused on one emotion. It could be love, loss, hope, anxiety. If your songs are struggling to connect with your audience, I want to encourage you to pick one emotion and make every note, every lyric count toward that emotion. Amateur songs, they often try to say too much or everything all at once, and all that does is convolute the vibe of your music. So here's the takeaway from that. Before you sit down to write a song, write down one emotion that you want your listeners to feel. You want to build your melody, your lyrics, the music, and the entire production all around that one emotion. And that is an important step that you don't want to miss if you're trying to level up your amateur songs to make them sound more professional. All right, are you feeling that spark yet? Hold on, because this next tip is going to make your songs unforgettable. Have you ever listened to a song that makes you feel like you're on a ride at a theme park? I've got a little anecdote here. I was co-writing with some friends a few months back, and we noticed that the song we were writing just kept falling flat. Just the same vibe from start to finish, and it was starting to frustrate us a little bit. We felt like the song was good, but it wasn't moving any of us. Finally, somebody said, we just need to embed a little bit of struggle and resolution into this song. And it got me thinking about the concept of tension and release. Once we had identified what the song was missing, we realized it's time to go back to the drawing board and rewrite some sections. And it took the song to a whole new level that we ended up loving. You see, pro songs, they build anticipation and then they deliver a payoff. For example, the verse teases and the chorus explodes. Think of Phoenix's Listomania as an example. The syncopated verses pull you in with a building groove, and then the chorus explodes like a riot of energy. Amateur songs tend to stay at one intensity, and then listeners begin to tune out. So what is the course of action for this? Map your song's emotional arc. I want you to take a look at your lyrics, and I want you to mark where you build tension. So where are the soft dynamics? Where are the sparse lyrics? And then I want you to mark where you release tension. So your big chorus, your bold vocals, your grandiose lyrics. Try this on your next track. Like, really start to get strategic about the way you write and about the way that you produce a song, because this is one of the ways that you can take your songs from amateur to professional. Okay, one last secret to hook your listeners from the very first second of your song. Here's some real talk. Attention spans, as you probably know, are not what they used to be. The digital age has severely diminished our attention spans. We scroll so quickly. So you need to stop a listener in the first 5 to 10 to 15 seconds of your song. I know that sounds crazy, but there's ways to do it. And look, I've learned this the hard way. I've been guilty of long intros. In fact, one time I was pitching a song to a music supervisor and it had about a 49-second intro, and they actually skipped the song and didn't even get to the vocals, which was a bummer. I thought, this intro is so beautiful, they're gonna wanna use part of it for the film. No, pros don't make that mistake. They just get right to the point. You may have heard the phrase, don't bore us, get to the chorus, and there's a reason for that. The best songs grab you instantly. You can think about The Killer's Mr. Brightside. It just has this immediate appeal with that riff and gets everybody revved up. Or maybe there's a bold lyric. There's a vibe that screams, listen to me. I'm currently developing a book called The 1,000 Echo Songwriting Toolkit, where I'm going into a lot of these concepts. So there's gonna be more information about this in due time. But the takeaway with being bold right at the beginning of your song is this. Try starting your next song with your strongest hook. Then record a 15-second clip and show it to a friend who loves you and will be honest with you, and ask them, is this something that you would keep listening to? And just listen to what they have to say. And that's a method for turning a skip into a save. You could even do this with 5 or 10 people. You could even record a TikTok reel and post that 15-second clip online and ask your fans and your following, hey, should I finish this song? And that right there is how you turn your amateur songs into professional songs, by getting feedback from your listeners. So there you go. There's 4 principles that you can use right now to take your songs from amateur to professional. These aren't just tips, they're actual tools that I've used in my 32 years as a songwriter. They're tools that any professional, any amateur can use to take their song to a whole new level. Because what's it all about? It's about creating music that connects more with our listeners. And the best part, you can start using these tools right now to level up your music. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these tools are you going to try first? Drop a line in the comments, because I read every single one and I try to respond to everybody. This channel is about building a tribe of songwriters who want to create music that connects more with our listeners. We can push, pull, and lean on each other to create better music that matters. And in these times, that's becoming more important than ever. If this lit a fire under you, please smash that like button. It tells YouTube to show this to other songwriters like you. Of course, please subscribe, hit the bell notification, and check out our newsletter. Thanks so much for watching this video. And as always, stay creative and stay human, and I'll see you on the next one. Hey everybody, I just wanted to invite you to download a free copy of my ebook, Songwriter's SOS. SOS stands for Spark, optimize, and seek. Spark inspiration with gratitude. Optimize your environment and routine, and seek new experiences and perspectives. In this ebook, I talk about some of the ways that you can optimize your life for creativity. I've got some prompts for you and some exercises for you, but it expands on everything I talk about in these YouTube videos: how to break through creative blocks, how to generate endless song ideas. It's completely free. Just sign up for my newsletter and I'll send it straight to your inbox. Hit the link in the description and grab your copy of it now. Thanks so much for watching, and I look forward to sharing Songwriter's SOS with you, my free ebook.